Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome back to the daily readings of Srila Prabhupada's books. It's getting to be a thing. I think we're on to something. There's lots of devotees who are getting nourished by these readings and beginning to get a taste for reading Prabhupada's books, and even devotees I know who have kind of been here and there, and now they're back on the beam from hearing these books. And so here we are, all together at once. We had a nice blast yesterday, party, and it was great. And the offerings were, I hope, they posted, they did. The problem was that the connection wasn't good enough to actually do it live streamed. So they had to do it, record it onto the phone and then upload it or post it, on the site in little bits, So we hope you have had a chance to see something. If not, that you will eventually. But here we are, 10th chapter of the 9th canto. I mean, we're working through the 9th canto at a good speed, good rate. We'll reach 10th canto pretty soon. Okay, Sanatana Goswami Srimad-Bhagavatam Mihima Stotram, the wonderful glorification of Srimad-Bhagavatam by that liberated soul. And it goes like this. Sarvasya Vipirusha Sarvasiddhaika Satpala Sarvasiddhantaratnaya Sarvalokaika Drikprada. All nectar from the ocean of all scriptures, singular fruit of all the Vedas, rich mine of the precious gems of all conclusive truths. You are the only giver of sight to all the worlds. Sarva Bhagavata Prana Srimad Bhagavata Prabhu Kalidwan Joditaditya Sri Krishna Parivartita. O life air of all the Supreme Lord's devotees, O Master Srimad Bhagavatam, you are the sun risen in the darkness of Kali. You are the exact image of Sri Krishna. Paramananda Pataya Prema Varshakshadayate Sarvada Sarvasevyaya Sri Krishnaya Namostume. I bow down to you, who are supremely blissful to read. Your every syllable pours down a flood of prema. You can always be served by everyone. You are Sri Krishna himself. Madik Bando Matsangin Madguro Man Mahadana Mandistadaka Madbhagya Mad Anandaramostute. My only friend, my constant companion, my spiritual master,
my great wealth,
my good fortune, my source of ecstasy, I bow down to you. Asadhu sadhutadayin atini chochatakara hanamunchagadachin mam premnarit yospura. O bestower of saintliness to the unsaintly, O exalter of the most fallen, please never leave me. Always appear in my heart and my voice with pure love. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 So, we've reached the 10th chapter of the 9th canto. Very special. The pastimes of Lord Ramacandra. Of course, he's, as we say, one of the biggies. Krishna, Lord Chaitanya, Lord Ramacandra, Sadbhuj, three major, full manifestations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But because his pastimes are contained in full and in detail in the Ramayana, there's only a brief summary of his pastimes in the Bhagavatam. But even that is enough to take us places, spiritual world. Okay. This 10th chapter describes how Lord Ramacandra in the dynasty of Maharaj Katvanga appeared in the dynasty of Maharaj Katvanga. It also describes the Lord's activities, telling how he killed Ravana and returned to Ayodhya, the capital of his kingdom. The son of Maharaj Katmanga was Dirghabahu, and his son was Raghu. The son of Raghu was Aja. The son of Aja was Dasharath. And the son of Dasharath was Lord Ramacandra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When the Lord descended into this world in his full quadruple expansion as Lord Ramacandra, Lakshman, Bharat, and Shatrughna, great sages like Valmiki, who were actually in knowledge of the absolute truth, described his transcendental pastimes. Srila Shukadev Goswami describes these pastimes in brief. Lord Ramacandra went with Vishwamrita and killed many Rakshasas. After breaking the stout and strong bow known as Haradanu, the Lord married Mother Sita and cut down the prestige of Parashuram. To obey the order of his father, he entered the forest, accompanied by Lakshman and Sita. There he cut off the nose of Shurnapaka and killed the associates of Ravana, headed by Kara and Dushana. Ravana's kidnapping of Sita Devi was the beginning of this demon's misfortune. When Maricha assumed the form of a golden deer, Lord Ramacandra went to bring the deer to please Sita Devi. But in the meantime, Ravana took advantage of the Lord's absence to kidnap her. When Sita Devi was kidnapped, Lord Ramacandra, accompanied by Lakshman, searched for her throughout the forest. In the course of this search, they met Jatayu. Then the Lord killed the demon Kabanda, and the commander Vali, and established a friendly relationship with Sugriva. After organizing the military strength of the monkeys and going with them to the shore of the sea, the Lord awaited the arrival of Samudra, the ocean personified. But when Samudra did not come, the Lord, the master of Samudra, became angry. Then Samudra came to the Lord with great haste and surrendered to him, wanting to help him in every way. The Lord then attempted to bridge the ocean, and with the help of advice from Vibhishana, he attacked Ravana's capital, Lanka. Previously, Hanuman, the eternal servant of the Lord, had set fire to Lanka, and now, with the help of Lakshman, the forces of Lord Ramacandra killed all the Rakshasa soldiers. Then Lord Ramacandra personally killed Ravana. Mandodari and other wives lamented for Ravana, and in accordance with Lord Ramachandra's order, Vibhishana performed the funeral ceremonies for all the dead in the family. Lord Ramachandra then gave Vibhishana the right to rule Lanka and also granted him a long duration of life. The Lord delivered Sita Devi from the Ashok forest, and he was received by his brother, Bharat. When Lord Ramachandra entered Ayodhya, Bharat brought his wooden shoes. Vibhishana and Sugriva held a whisk and fan. Hanuman carried an umbrella. Shatrughna carried the Lord's bow and 2 quivers, and Sita Devi carried a water pot containing water from holy places. Angada carried a sword, and Jambavan, Riksharaj, carried a shield. After Lord Ramachandra, accompanied by Lord Lakshman and his mother, and Mother Sita Devi, met all his relatives, the great sage Vasishta enthroned him as king. The chapter ends with a short description of Lord Ramachandra's rule in Ayodhya. Text 1. Shukadev Goswami said, The son of Maharaj Katbanga was Dirgabahu, and his son was the celebrated Maharaj Raghu. From Maharaj Raghu came Aja, and from Aja was born the great personality, Maharaj Dasharat. 2. Being prayed for by the demigods, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Absolute Truth Himself, directly appeared with His expansion and expansions of the expansion. Their holy names were Rama, Lakshman, Bharat, and Shatrughna. These celebrated incarnations thus appeared in 4 forms as the sons of Maharaj Dasharat. Purport. Lord Ramacandra and his brothers, Lakshman, Bharat, and Shatrughna, are all Vishnu Tattva, not Jiva Tattva. The Supreme Personality of Godhead expands into many, many forms, Advaitam, Achyutam, Anadam, Ananta Rupam. Although they are one and the same, Vishnu Tattva has many forms and incarnations. As confirmed in the Brahma Samhita 539, Ramadi Murtishu Kala Niyamena Tishtan. The Lord is situated in many forms, such as Rama, Lakshman, Bharat, and Shatrughna. And these forms may exist in any part of His creation. All these forms exist permanently, eternally, as individual personalities of Godhead, and they resemble many candles, all equally powerful. Lord Ramacandra, Lakshman, Bharat, and Shatrughna, who being Vishnu Tattva are all equally powerful, became the sons of Maharaj Dasharat in response to prayers by the demigods. Text 3. O King Parikshit, the transcendental activities of Lord Ramacandra have been described by great saintly persons who have seen the truth. Because you have heard again and again about Lord Ramacandra, the husband of Mother Sita, I shall describe these activities only in brief. Please listen. Purport. Modern Rakshasas, posing as educationally advanced merely because they have doctorates, have tried to prove that Lord Ramacandra is not the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but an ordinary person. But those who are learned and spiritually advanced will never accept such notions. They will accept the descriptions of Lord Ramacandra and his activities only as presented by Tattvadarshis, those who know the absolute truth. In Bhagavad Gita 4.34, the Supreme Personality of Godhead advises, Tadvidi panipatina pariprashnena sevaya upatikshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized soul can impart knowledge unto you because he has seen the truth. Unless one is Tattvadarshi, in complete knowledge of the absolute truth, one cannot describe the activities of the personality of Godhead. Therefore, although there are many so-called Ramayanas, or histories of Lord Ramachandra's activities, some of them are not actually authoritative. Sometimes, Lord Ramachandra's activities are described in terms of one's own imaginations, speculations, or material sentiments. But the characteristics of Lord Ramacandra should not be handled as something imaginary. While describing the history of Lord Ramacandra, Shukadev Goswami told Maharaj Parikshit, you have already heard about the activities of Lord Ramacandra. Apparently, therefore, 5,000 years ago, there were many Ramayanas, or histories of Lord Ramachandra's activities, and there are many still. But we must select only those books written by Tattvadarshis, Jnaninas Tattvadarshinaha, not the books of the so-called scholars who claim knowledge only on the basis of a doctorate. Although the Ramayana composed by Valmiki is a huge literature, the same activities are summarized here by Shukadev Goswami in a few verses. Text 4. To keep the promise of his father intact, Lord Ramacandra immediately gave up the position of king and, accompanied by his wife, Mother Sita, wandered from one forest to another on his lotus feet, which were so delicate that they were unable to bear even the touch of Sita's palms. The Lord was also accompanied by Hanuman, or another monkey, Sugriva, king of the monkeys, and by his own younger brother, Lord Lakshman, both of whom gave him relief from the fatigue of wandering in the forest. Having cut off the nose and ears of Shurnapaka, thus disfiguring her, the Lord was separated from Mother Sita. He therefore became angry, moving his eyebrows, and thus frightening the ocean, who then allowed the Lord to construct a bridge to cross the ocean. Subsequently, the Lord entered the kingdom of Ravana to kill him, like a fire devouring a forest. May that Supreme Lord, Ramacandra, give us protection. Text 5. In the arena of the sacrifice performed by Vishwamrita, Lord Ramacandra, the king of Ayodhya, killed many demons, rakshasas, and uncivilized men who wandered at night in the mode of darkness. May Lord Ramacandra, who killed these demons in the presence of Lakshman, be kind enough to give us protection. It's okay. 6 and 7. O King, the pastimes of Lord Ramacandra were wonderful, like those of a baby elephant. In the assembly where Mother Sita was to choose her husband, in the midst of the heroes of this world, he broke the bow belonging to Lord Shiva. This bow was so heavy that it was carried by 300 men. But Lord Ramacandra bent and strung it and broke it in the middle, just like a baby elephant breaks a stick of sugar cane. Thus the Lord achieved the hand of Mother Sita, who was equally as endowed with transcendental qualities of form, beauty, behavior, age, and nature. Indeed, she was the goddess of fortune, who constantly rests on the chest of the Lord. While returning from Sita's home, after gaining her at the assembly of competitors, Lord Ramacandra met Parashuram. Although Parashuram was very proud, having rid the earth of the royal order 21 times, he was defeated by the Lord, who appeared to be a Kshatriya of the royal order. Text 8. Carrying out the order of his father, who was bound by a promise to his wife, Lord Ramacandra left behind his kingdom, opulence, friends, well-wishers, residents, and everything else, just as a liberated soul gives up his life, and went to the forest with Sita. Purport. Maharaj Dasharatha had 3 wives. One of them, Kaikeyi, served him very pleasingly, and he therefore wanted to give her a benediction. Kaikeyi, however, said that she would ask for the benediction when it was necessary. At the time of the coronation of Prince Ramacandra, Kaikeyi requested her husband to enthrone her son Bharat and send Ramacandra to the forest. Maharaj Dasharatha, being bound by his promise, ordered Ramacandra to go to the forest according to the dictation of his beloved. And the Lord, as an obedient son, accepted the order immediately. He left everything without hesitation, just as a liberated soul or great yogi gives up his life without material attraction. Text 9. While wandering in the forest, where he accepted a life of hardship, carrying his invincible bow and arrows in his hand, Lord Ramacandra deformed Ravana's sister, who was polluted with lusty desires, by cutting off her nose and ears. He also killed her 14,000 Rakshasa friends, headed by Kara, Tishira, and Dushana. Text 10. O King Parikshit, when Ravana, who had 10 heads on his shoulders, heard about the beautiful and attractive features of Sita, his mind was agitated by lusty desires, and he went to kidnap her. To distract Lord Ramachandra from his ashram, Ravana sent Maricha in the form of a golden deer. And when Lord Ramachandra saw that wonderful deer, he left his residence and followed it, and finally killed it with a sharp arrow, just as Lord Shiva killed Daksha. Text 11. When Ramachandra entered the forest, and Lakshman was also absent, the worst of the Rakshasas, Ravana, kidnapped Sita, the daughter of the king of Videha, just as a tiger seizes uprooted sheep when the shepherd is absent. Unprotected, sorry. Then Lord Ramachandra wandered in the forest with his brother Lakshman, as if very much distressed due to separation from his wife. Thus he showed by his personal example the condition of the person attached to women. Purport. In this verse, the words Stri Sanginam Gatim Iti indicate that the condition of a person attached to women was shown by the Lord himself. According to moral instructions, Grihe Narim Vibarjayet, when one goes on a tour, one should not bring his wife. Formerly men used to travel without conveyances, but still, as far as possible, when one leaves home one should not take his wife with him, especially if one is in such a condition as Lord Ramachandra, when banished by the order of his father. Whether in the forest or at home, if one is attached to women, his attachment is always troublesome, as shown by the Supreme Personality of Godhead by his personal example. Of course, this is a material side of Sri Sangi, but the situation of Lord Ramachandra is spiritual, for he does not belong to the material world. Narayana Pado Vyaktat. Narayana. I'll take advantage. Because he is the creator of the material world, the separation of Lord Ramachandra from Sita is spiritually understood as Vipralamba, which is an activity of the Ladini potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, belonging to the Shringara Rasa, the mellow of conjugal love, in the spiritual world. In the spiritual world, the Supreme Personality of Godhead has all the dealings of love, displaying the symptoms called Sattvika, Sanchari, Vilapa, Murcha, and Unmada. Thus, when Lord Ramachandra was separated from Sita, all these spiritual symptoms were manifested. The Lord is neither impersonal nor impotent. Rather, he is Satchit Ananda Vigraha, the eternal form of knowledge and bliss. Thus, he has all the symptoms of spiritual bliss. Feeling separation from one's beloved is also an item of spiritual bliss. As explained by Srila Swarup Damodar Goswami, Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikritir Ladini Shakti. The dealings of love between Radha and Krishna are displayed as the pleasure potency of the Lord. The Lord is the original source of all pleasure, the reservoir of all pleasure. Lord Ramachandra, therefore, manifested the truth both spiritually and materially. Materially, those who are attached to women suffer, but spiritually, when there are feelings of separation between the Lord and his pleasure potency. Welcome. Name?
Michael.
Michael. It's pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Spiritually, when there are feelings of separation between the Lord and his pleasure potency, the spiritual bliss of the Lord increases. This is further explained in Bhagavad Gita 9:11. Avajananti mam mudha manushim tanamashritam param bhavam ajananto mama bhuta maheshwaram. One who does not know the spiritual potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead thinks of the Lord as an ordinary human being. But the Lord's mind, intelligence, and senses can never be affected by material conditions. This fact is further explained in the Skanda Purana, as quoted by Madhvacharya. Nitya Purna Sukha Rajyana Sarupo Sao Yato Vibhuhu Yato Sya Rama Ityakya Tasya Dukam Kuton Vapi Tatapi Lokasik Sartam Aduko Dukapartidvat Antarhitam Lokadrishtya Sitam Asit Smadamiba Gyanapartam Punar Nitya Sambandha Samanat Sriyaha Ayodhyaya Minir Gachchan Sarvalokasya Cheshwadaha Pratyaksham Tu Shriya Sardam Jagamanadir Abhyayaha Nakshatra Masaganitam Trayodasha Sahasrakam Brahmaloka Samang Chakre Samastam Chitimandalam Ramo Ramo Rama Iti Sarvisham Abhavitada Sarvo Rama Mayo Loko Yada Ramas Topalayat. It was actually impossible for Ravana to take away Sita. The form of Sita taken by Ravana was an illusory representation of Mother Sita, Maya Sita. When Sita was tested in the fire, this Maya Sita was burnt, and the real Sita came out of the fire. A further understanding to be derived from this example is that a woman, however powerful she may be in the material world, must be given protection, for as soon as she is unprotected, she will be exploited by Rakshasas, like Ravana. Here the words Vadeha Raja Durhitari indicate that before Mother Sita was married to Lord Ramacandra, she was protected by her father, Vadeha Raja. And when he was married, she was protected by her husband. Therefore, the conclusion is that a woman should always be protected. According to the Vedic rule, there is no scope for a woman's being independent, asamaksham, for a woman cannot protect herself independently. Text 12. Lord Ramacandra, whose lotus feet are worshipped by Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, had assumed the form of a human being. Thus he performed the funeral ceremony of Jatayu, who was killed by Ravana. The Lord then killed the demon named Kabanda, and after making friends with the monkey chiefs, killing Bali, and arranging for the deliverance of Mother Sita, he went to the beach of the ocean. Purport. When Ravana kidnapped Sita, he was obstructed on the way by Jatayu, a large bird, but the powerful Ravana defeated Jatayu in the fight and cut his wing. When Ramacandra was searching for Sita, he found Jatayu almost dead and was informed that Sita had been carried off by Ravana. When Jatayu died, Lord Ramacandra did the duty of a son by performing the funeral ceremony, and then he made friends with the monkeys to deliver Sita Devi. Srila Prabhupada used this pastime as an example of how there is never any failure in devotional service or devotional life. Because even if your effort doesn't become materially successful, it pleases the Lord. Here Jatayu was king of birds. He was very big and strong bird, but he was no match for Ravana. But still he tried to save Sita from Ravana. But even though he didn't succeed, he was able to tell Rama what happened and which way to go, which way he went. He went that way. And then Lord Ramacandra worshipped Jatayu, So he was so pleased with Jatayu, even though he was not successful in a material sense. So we should know that whatever you do in devotional life, whether there be some external success or not, it is always successful. Text 13. After reaching the beach, Lord Ramacandra fasted for 3 days, awaiting the arrival of the ocean personified When the ocean did not come, the Lord exhibited his pastime of anger, and simply by his glancing over the ocean, all the living entities within it, including the crocodiles and sharks, were agitated by fear. Then the personified ocean fearfully approached Lord Ramacandra, taking all paraphernalia to worship him. Falling at the Lord's lotus feet, the personified ocean spoke as follows. 14. O all-pervading Supreme Person, we are dull-minded. Text 14, Sarva, chapter 10. O all-pervading Supreme Person, we are dull-minded and did not understand who you are. But now we understand that you are the Supreme Person, the Master of the entire universe, the unchanging and original personality of Godhead. The demigods are infatuated with the mode of goodness, the Prajapatis with the mode of passion, and the Lord of Ghosts with the mode of ignorance. But you are the master of all these qualities. Purport. The word Jadadiya refers to intelligence like that of an animal. A person with such intelligence cannot understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Without being beaten, an animal cannot understand the purpose of a man. Similarly, those who are dull-minded cannot understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but when punished severely by the modes of material nature, he can begin to understand him. A Hindu poet has said, Dukha se sabahari baje, sukha se baji koi, sukha se agar hari baje, dukhat khatan se hoy. When one is distressed, he goes to the church or temple to worship the Lord. But when opulent, he forgets the Lord. Therefore, punishment by the Lord through material nature is necessary in human society. For without it, men forget the supremacy of the Lord due to their dull, blunt intelligence. Text 15. My Lord, you may use my water as you like. Indeed, you may cross it and go to the abode of Ravana, who is the great source of disturbance and crying for the three worlds. He is the son of Vishrava, but is condemned like urine. Please go kill him and thus regain your wife Sita Devi, O great hero. Although my water presents no impediment to your going to Lanka, please construct a bridge over it to spread your transcendental fame. Upon seeing this wonderfully uncommon deed of your lordship, all the great heroes and kings in the future will glorify you. Purport. It is said that his son and urine emanate from the same source, genitals. When a son is a devotee or a great learned person, the seminal discharge for begetting a son is successful. But if the son is unqualified and brings no glory to his family, he is no better than urine. Here Ravana is compared to urine because he was a cause of disturbances to the three worlds. Thus the ocean personified wanted him killed by Lord Ramacandra. One feature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Ramacandra, is omnipotence. The Lord can act without regard to material impediments or inconveniences, but to prove that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and was not merely advertised as Godhead or elected by popular vote. He constructed a wonderful bridge over the ocean. Nowadays it has become fashionable to create some artificial god who performs no uncommon activities. A little magic will bewilder a foolish person into selecting an artificial god because he does not understand how powerful God is. Lord Ramacandra, however, constructed a bridge over the water with stone by making the stone float. This is proof of God's uncommonly wonderful power. Why should someone be accepted as God without displaying extraordinary potency by doing something never to be done by any common man? We accept Lord Ramacandra as the Supreme Personality of Godhead because he constructed this bridge, and we accept Lord Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead because he lifted Govardhan Hill when he was only 7 years old. We should not accept any rascal as God or an incarnation of God, for God displays special features in his various activities. Therefore, the Lord himself says in Bhagavad Gita 4:9, Janma karma chame divyam evam yo veti tatpataha chaktva deham punarjanma naitimam etisorjuna. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. The activities of the Lord are not common. They are all transcendentally wonderful and not able to be performed by any other living being. The symptoms of the Lord's activities are all mentioned in the Shastras, and after one understands them, one can accept the Lord as he is. Text 16. Shukadeva Goswami said, after constructing a bridge over the ocean by throwing into the water the peaks of mountains whose trees and other vegetation had been shaken by the hands of great monkeys, Lord Ramacandra went to Lanka to release Sita Devi from the clutches of Ravana. With the direction and help of Bibhishana, Ravana's brother, the Lord, along with the monkey soldiers, headed by Sugriva, Nila, and Hanuman, entered Ravana's kingdom, Lanka, which had previously been burnt by Hanuman. Purport. Great mountain peaks with trees and plants were thrown into the sea by the monkey soldiers and began to float by the supreme will of the Lord. By the supreme will of the Lord, many great planets float weightlessly in space like swabs of cotton. If this is possible, why should great mountain peaks not be able to float on water? This is the omnipotence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He can do anything and everything he likes because he is not under the control of the material nature. Indeed, material nature is controlled by him. Maya yakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam. Only under his direction does prakriti, or material nature, work. Similar information is given in the Brahma Samhita 552. Yas yagyaya brahmatisam britakala chakro govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Describing how material nature works, the Brahma Samhita says that the sun moves as desired by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Consequently, for Lord Ramacandra to construct a bridge over the Indian Ocean with the help of monkey soldiers who threw great mountain peaks into the water is not at all wonderful. It is wonderful only in the sense that it has kept the name and fame of Lord Ramacandra eternally celebrated. Srila Prabhupada. Nice purport. Text 17. After entering Lanka, the monkey soldiers, led by chiefs like Sugriva, Nila, and Hanuman, occupied all the sporting houses, granaries, treasuries, palace doorways, city gates, assembly houses, palace frontages, and even the resting houses of the pigeons. When the city's crossroads, platforms, flags, and golden water pots on its domes were all destroyed, the entire city of Lanka appeared like a river disturbed by a herd of elephants. Text 18. When Ravana, the master of the Rakshasas, saw the disturbances created by the monkey soldiers, he called for Nikumba, Kumbha, Dhumraksha, Dhumurka, Surantaka, Narantaka, and other Rakshasas, and also his son, Indrajit. Thereafter he called for Prahasta, Atikaya, Vikampana, and finally Kumbhakarna. Then he induced all his followers to fight against the enemies. 19. Lord Ramacandra, surrounded by Lakshmana and monkey soldiers like Sugriva, Hanuman, Gandhamada, Nila, Angada, Jambavan, and Panasa, attacked the soldiers of the Rakshasas, who were fully equipped with various invincible weapons like swords, lances, bows, prashas, rishtis, shakti arrows, khadgas, and tomaras. Text 20. Angada and the other commanders of the soldiers of Ramacandra faced the elephants, infantry, horses, and chariots of the enemy, and hurled against them big trees, mountain peaks, clubs, and arrows. Thus the soldiers of Lord Ramacandra killed Ravana's soldiers, who had lost all good fortune because Ravana had been condemned by the anger of Mother Sita. Hell no fury. Purport. The soldiers Lord Ramachandra recruited in the jungle were all monkeys and did not have proper equipment with which to fight the soldiers of Ravana. For Ravana's soldiers were equipped with weapons in modern warfare, weapons of modern warfare, whereas the monkeys could only throw stones, mountain peaks, and trees. It was only Lord Ramachandra and Lakshman who shot some arrows. But because the soldiers of Ravana were condemned by the curse of Mother Sita, the monkeys were able to kill them simply by throwing stones and trees. There are two kinds of strength, Daiva and Purushakara. Daiva refers to the strength achieved from the transcendence, and Purushakara refers to the strength organized by one's own intelligence and power. Transcendental power is always superior to the power of the materialist. Depending on the mercy of the Supreme Lord, one must fight one's enemies, even though one may not be equipped with modern weapons. Therefore, Krishna instructed Arjuna, Mam anusmarayudhyacha. Think of me and fight. We should fight our enemy to the best of our ability, but for victory, we must depend on the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Text 21. Thereafter, when Ravana, the king of the Rakshasas, observed that his soldiers had been lost, he was extremely angry. Thus he mounted his airplane, which was decorated with flowers, and proceeded toward Lord Ramachandra, who sat on the effulgent chariot brought by Malati, the chariot driver of Indra. Then Ravana struck Lord Ramachandra with sharp arrows. 22. Lord Ramachandra said to Ravana, You are the most abominable of the man-eaters. Indeed, you are like their stool. You resemble a dog, for a dog eats eatables from the kitchen in the absence of the householder. In my absence, you have kidnapped my wife, Sita Devi. Therefore, as Yamaraj punishes sinful men, I shall also punish you. You are most abominable, sinful, and shameless. Today, therefore, I, whose attempt never fails, shall punish you. Purport. Nat chadaivat padam balam. No one can surpass the strength of the transcendence. Ravana was so sinful and shameless that he did not know what the result would be of kidnapping Mother Sita, the pleasure potency of Ramachandra. This is the disqualification of the Rakshasas. Asatyam, apatishtam te, jagat ahur anishwaram. The Rakshasas are unaware that the Supreme Lord is the ruler of the creation. They think that everything has come about by chance or accident, and that there is no ruler, king, or controller. Therefore the Rakshasas act independently, as they like, going even so far as to kidnap the goddess of fortune. This policy of Ravana's is extremely dangerous for the materialist. Indeed, it brings ruin to the materialistic civilization. Nonetheless, because atheists are Rakshasas, they dare to do things that are most abominable, and thus they are punished without fail. Religion consists of the orders of the Supreme Lord, and one who carries out these orders is religious. One who fails to carry out the Lord's orders is irreligious, and he is to be punished. Text 23. After thus rebuking Ravana, Lord Ramacandra fixed an arrow to his bow, aimed at Ravana, and released the arrow, which pierced Ravana's heart like a thunderbolt. Upon seeing this, Ravana's followers raised a tumultuous sound, crying, "Alas, alas, what has happened? What has happened?" As Ravana, vomiting blood from his 10 mouths, fell from his airplane, just as a pious man falls to earth from the heavenly planets when the results of his pious activities are exhausted. Purport. In Bhagavad Gita 9:21 it is said, "Chine punye marja lokam bishanti." When the results of their pious activities are exhausted, those who have enjoyed in the heavenly planets fall again to earth. The fruitive activities of this material world are such that whether one acts piously or impiously, one must remain within the material world according to different conditions. For neither pious nor impious actions relieve one from Maya's clutches of repeated birth and death. Somehow or other, Ravana was raised to an exalted position as the king of a great kingdom with all material opulences. But because of his sinful act of kidnapping Mother Sita, all the results of his pious activities were destroyed. If one offends an exalted personality, especially the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one certainly becomes most abominable, bereft of the results of pious activities, and one must fall down like Ravana and other demons. It is therefore advised that one transcend both pious and impious activities and remain in the pure state of freedom from all designations. Sarvopadi vinir muktam tat padat vena nirmalam. When one is fixed in devotional service, he is above the material platform. On the material platform there are higher and lower positions, but when one is above the material platform, he is always fixed in a spiritual position. Sagunan samatitaitan brahmabhuyaya kalpate. Ravana, or those like him, must be very powerful and opulent in this material world, but theirs is not a secure position, because after all, they are bound by the results of their karma. Karmana daiva netrena. We should not forget that we are completely dependent on the laws of nature. Prakriti kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvashaha ahankara vibhunatma kartahamiti manyate. The bewildered spirit soul, under the influence of the 3 modes of material nature, thinks himself the doer of activities that are in actuality carried out by nature. Bhagavad Gita 3:27. One should not be proud of one's exalted position and act like Ravana, thinking oneself independent of material nature's laws. 24. Thereafter, all the women whose husbands had fallen on the battlefield, headed by Mandodari, the wife of Ravana, came out of Lanka. Continuously crying, they approached the dead bodies of Ravana and the other Rakshasas, striking their breasts in affliction because their husbands had been killed by the arrows of Lakshman. The women embraced their respective husbands and cried piteously in voices appealing to everyone. O my Lord, O Master, you epitomized trouble for others, and therefore you were called Ravana. But now that you have been defeated, we are also defeated, for without you the state of Lanka has been conquered by the enemy. To whom will we go for shelter? Purport. Ravana's wife Mandodari and the other wives knew very well how cruel a person Ravana was. The very word Ravana means one who causes crying for others. Ravana continuously caused trouble for others, but when his sinful activities culminated in giving trouble to Sita Devi, he was killed by Lord Ramacandra. Text 27. O greatly fortunate one, you came under the influence of lusty desires, and therefore you could not understand the influence of Mother Sita. Now, because of her curse, You have now been reduced to this state, having been killed by Lord Ramacandra. Purport. Not only was Mother Sita powerful, but any woman who follows in the footsteps of Mother Sita can also become similarly powerful. There are many instances of this in the history of Vedic literature. Whenever we find a description of the ideal chaste women, Mother Sita is among them. Mandodari, the wife of Ravana, was also very chaste. Similarly, Draupadi, one of the five exalted chaste women, was one of the five exalted chaste women. As a man must follow great personalities like Brahma and Narada, a woman must follow the path to such ideal women as Sita, Mandodari, and Draupadi. By staying chaste and faithful to her husband, a woman enriches herself with supernatural power. It is a moral principle that one should not be influenced by lusty desires for another's wife. Matrivat Padadareshu, an intelligent person must look upon another's wife as being like his mother. This is a moral injunction from Chanika Shloka 10. Matrivat Padadareshu Padadrave Shuloshtраvat Atmavat Sarvabhuteshu Yak Prishati Sapanditaha. One who considers another's wife as his mother, sees others' possessions as a lump of dirt, and treats all other living beings as he would treat himself, is considered to be learned. Thus Ravana was condemned, not only by Lord Ramacandra, but even by his own wife, Mandodari. Because she was a chaste woman, she knew the power of another chaste woman, especially such a wife as Mother Sita Devi. O pleasure of the Rakshasa dynasty, because of you, the state of Lanka, and also we ourselves, now have no protector. By your deeds you have made your body fit to be eaten by vultures, and your soul fit to go to hell. Purport. One who follows the path of Ravana is condemned in two ways. His body is fit to be eaten by dogs and vultures, and the soul goes to hell. As stated by the Lord himself in Bhagavad Gita 16:19, Tan aham dvishatakru ran sangsareshu naradaman chipam yajashram ashubhan asurisheva jonishu. Those who are envious and mischievous, who are the lowest among men, are cast by me into the ocean of material existence, into various demoniac species of life. Thus the destination of godless atheists, such as Ravana, Hiranyakashipu, Kamsa, and Dantavakra, is a hellish condition of life. Mandodari, the wife of Ravana, could understand all this because she was a chaste woman. Although lamenting for the death of her husband, she knew what would happen to his body and soul. For although one cannot see directly with one's material eyes, one can see with eyes of knowledge. Pashanti Jnana Chakshusha. In Vedic history, there are many instances of how one becomes godless and is condemned by the laws of nature. We'll stop there for tonight. Hare Krishna. Yes, Bhakta Jorge, you want to start? This is our open mic. Open mic. So if you have something you heard that stuck out in your mind, or you wonder about, or you want to discuss further or reflect about, please feel free. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. We're reading a little bit and towards the end. It says, thus the destination of godly atheists such as Ravana, Hiranyakashipu, Kamsa, and Dantavakra is a hellish condition of life. But we also hear that when you're killed by the Supreme Lord, you're also liberated. So how do we understand this and not get confused?
You're liberated if you're killed by Krishna, the original form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but not necessarily by other incarnations.
Okay.
But Ramacandra is an exception because this is an exceptional pastime. Because Ravana was formerly Jai, of Jai and Vijay, the two gatekeepers of Vaikuntha, who got cursed and fell to the material world to act in 3 lifetimes as demons, as enemies of the Lord. And therefore, he didn't get his ultimate liberation, but he did get an interim liberation until he could take another birth and get killed by Krishna. Yes. Because you can only get liberated as a demon, killed by Krishna. Sometimes one can get impersonal liberation, but not full liberation. Yes.
Then we also hear that Hiranyakashipu was liberated also, though, wasn't he? When he was killed by
yeah, but that was
Lord
by
Nishingadev?
Lord Nishingadev, not by Krishna personally.
Okay.
The original form of God, Krishna.
Okay.
Yes, Prabhupada Priya.
I was reflecting on, there's one purport there that Prabhupada was saying that there are 2 kinds of strength. One is divine, and the other is one's material intelligence and resources.
Yes.
And how in all of these pastimes, the demons, they tend to think that the real strength is material resources. Like we see with Duryodhana, when he's given the choice between Krishna, who's not going to fight, and Krishna's armies.
Yes.
He's like, well, that's a no-brainer. I'm going to take the armies, because this guy's not going to fight anyway.
Yeah. Okay.
And here Prabhupada's saying that Ravana is the same. He's the monkeys, they only have sticks and stones, and he's got like weapons and armies and modern, weapons. But they don't understand that it's actually, the more powerful one is always the divine empowerment.
Yes.
So I was thinking that in sometimes devotees also, we can think that, we need to sort of put Krishna on the back burner in order to get our material lives together, to earn money, to, get financial security or whatever.
We'll do that later, Krishna.
So is that kind of a demoniac tendency?
Well, I don't know if Prabhupada defined this demoniac word differently in different contexts. It's not that we can define one word the same in all contexts. But he did say, in the extreme context, he said, anything that is done without doing it for the pleasure of Krishna is demoniac, is material.
Okay. So it depends on our consciousness.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Hari has the mic.
I noted this text 14 purport where a Hindi poet is quoted. When one is distressed, he goes to the church or temple to worship the Lord, but when opulent, he forgets the Lord. Therefore, punishment by the Lord through material nature is necessary in human society, for without it, men forget the supremacy of the Lord due to their dull, blunt intelligence. I like this because it answers like the age-old question: why do the bad things happen to good people?
Yeah.
And if the existence of God, there cannot be God because there's misfortune in the world, and I think it's just really nicely stated in this purport, concisely.
Very nice. Yeah, true. Yes, Sarva.
I was impressed by the fact that Mandodari, the wife of Ravan, even though he was very inimical to Lord Ram and had a lot of materialistic tendencies, she just described as being very chaste because she was loyal to her husband. So I was thinking of some devotee ladies whose husbands haven't been perfect, but they've been loyal and they seem to get some spiritual strength that protects them. But it seems like a touchy situation because in some purports Prabhupada says a woman shouldn't follow a fallen husband.
Yeah, that's the 7th canto of Bhagavatam.
But I was thinking of the example of Prabhupada's sister, Pishima, whose husband had a slight problem drinking liquor or something like that, and she prayed to her deities to help her husband, and he got over that habit. So there seems to be some glory in the faith of a woman in
Yes,
her husband.
and also sometimes a woman may follow faithfully a man who is fallen until it gets to the extreme, and then she should not follow. But during the time that she does that, she gets all kind of power. Shastrically, a woman is not required to follow a husband who is actually fallen. Who will, in Pishima's case, he was fallen, but he didn't actually tell her to do something wrong. That was the difference.
Hare Krishna. I really appreciated the description.
Namaste, Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Hare Krishna, Gurudev. I really appreciated the description of how Ravana, he fell from his airplane vomiting blood from his 10 mouths.
Made quite a mess.
And then in that purport, I appreciated the reminder that the fruit of activities of this material world are such that whether one acts piously or impiously, one must remain within the material world according to different conditions.
Yeah.
For neither pious nor impious actions can relieve one from Maya's clutches of repeated birth and death.
Very nice. Question? Yes, please. Michael. We have a new guest, Michael. First time in this room, in
Hello,
this
everybody.
assembly of sages, hearing the Srimad-Bhagavatam.
Yes. So, who is or what is Maya?
Oh, nice question. You're a very intelligent person.
Thank you.
That's why you're here. Okay, the word Maya is made up of 2 syllables, ma and ya. Ma means not, and ya means that. So Maya means when you mistake something that's true as true that is not true. It's also sat and asat. Nasato vidite bhavo na bhavo vidite sata. Ubayor apidrishtuntas tanasvata darshana. Means that the sages who have studied the thing carefully and thoroughly accept that which is not permanent is asat, is not true, and that which is permanent is sat, or true.
Okay.
So applying it to ourselves, the first principle of spiritual life is the realization that we are not material. That's what spiritual life means. To understand, first of all, that you're not material, you're spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
And that is done by thoughtfulness. There's a big trend in the world toward meditation.
Right.
But the kind of meditation they're teaching is, blank the mind, or stop the mind, or stop the world, I want to get off, or whatever it is.
Right.
I saw a crazy little blurb in the news. There were these people who were doing a special new kind of yoga that they did on a kind of like a paddle board out in the middle of the ocean. They were lying on their back and putting their legs up and doing all kinds of things, and one of them fell off and drowned.
Oh no.
That's not yoga, and it's not meditation. But meditation means to first understand what is spiritual and material, and then to think about it to the point where one can actually act as a spiritual being. But in order to do that, you have to know what a spiritual being is, and you have to know what spiritual activity is, and you have to know what the spiritual world is. So this Srimad-Bhagavatam reveals all those things in great detail. I mean, we just read, 20, 30 verses. There's 18,000 verses which describe the history of the universe, and in doing so, describes the creation of the universe very intricately, very detailed, step by step, how all the parts, all the energies, what their purposes are, what the overall purpose of the material world is, different purposes, because there's more than one purpose, of course. And in this way, one learns by knowledge to look through the knowledge, like we look through glasses. I can't see when I look through my glasses, then I see things clearly. So knowledge, transcendental knowledge, is like that. It's not some kind of sentimental thing, where they say they give everybody a secret mantra and pay 'em, and you pay for it, and then when you start checking, what's yours? And oh, that's the same as mine. What's yours? Oh, that's the same as mine too. So they're giving the secret mantra, and everybody's supposed to have their unique mantra, but it's all the same, and they're paying good money for it. So these kinds of cheating, actually, falsity, asat, this is Maya.
Okay.
We know from our own experience that our bodies are changing. The body is changing. From the time we were born until now, it's changed at least 3 or 4 or 5 times. In my case, more, a lot more. That means you had in this life a number of bodies. And actually, the truth is that in each instant it's changing, but it's changing so imperceptibly that you can't see it. And that's Maya. That's the force of time and the actions and the influence of the material energy convince us that we are material.
Okay.
And there's nothing more to it than that.
I see.
That's Maya. That's
All right.
illusion. Spiritual being is the same. I remember when I was, I don't know, when do you remember? 5, 3, 4, something like that? Some incident that happened when you were there and you remember being there. And so that body is gone, but you were there.
Yeah.
You dream at night.
Mm.
You fly through the sky or something.
Yeah.
Become a king or get chased by a crocodile or, whatever in a dream. And you feel all these exhilarations or fear or anxiety or joy or whatever. And then when you wake up, you're in the bed.
Yeah.
That's Maya. The Maya means you, but the person who's actually, then you get up and you have to remember what to do. You have all these duties and this and that. But the person who's having the experiences in both the dream state and in the physical state, that's the reality. He doesn't change. The soul doesn't change, ever.
Okay.
And it's that soul that we're looking for, because the soul has a spiritual body, a spiritual form, with all the senses, and that's why we can see and hear and taste and smell and feel, because these elements are inert. They can't actually feel the physical elements. You pluck your eye out, look around, it's not going to see anything.
Right. All right. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. And there's a lot more to it than that. That's just the first step. But when you do see through the eyes of knowledge, your vision of the world changes. Your understanding changes. Just like a little baby would come in looking for the parents, they'll see the same forms, exactly the same forms, no different, But they won't think, oh, maybe there's something to learn here. Is my mommy here? No, okay. And then they just run off or they go to play or whatever. They can't understand because their body is not developed. When you're 3 years old, you can't think of sex. Your body hasn't developed. So according to the body, we act. So how to act in a spiritual body, that's the question. And that requires a little deeper understanding and transcendental knowledge. Okay, I think there's something going on in different places. Something? Well, we have some online nectar.
All right, this is from Krishna Katha Das. Oh,
Oh, I
I
see.
was about to say.
It's Vrindavaneshwari through Krishna Katha's account.
Oh, okay, here it is.
That's why they call them the better half.
Here it says, Hare Krishna from Vrindavaneshwari Devi Dasi. Please accept my humble obeisances. We read, therefore the conclusion is that a woman should always be protected. According to Vedic rule, there is no scope for a woman's being independent, for a woman cannot protect herself independently. Can you kindly expand on this, please? Materially, I encourage women to be independent due to the high divorce rate, sadly, even with Krishna-conscious couples.
Well, first of all, the concept is material. It's a material concept. It's talking. We heard just recently about Aditi, and she had a certain desire, and her husband gave her something to do on her own, that when she did it, she became a Vaishnavi, and therefore wanted to do the right thing with right intelligence. So the general sense is materialistic women, just like materialistic men. They're nonsense, you know. So in the world today, it's very complex because the men are getting weaker, women are getting stronger for obvious reasons, and therefore these laws are very, very difficult to apply in an absolute sense. Like there were some very elevated women in our movement that Prabhupada recommended not to go with men. Did you know that? Or when their husband took sannyas, Yamuna and what's her name? Yamuna and no. Well, they also, but the Yamuna and who went with her? Dinataran. Yeah, Dinasharan. Yeah, they were recommended by Prabhupada to set up a monastic situation for women. You know, and you know. So it's not that women are stupid. They're not. And women are not supposed to be slaves to men. That's why they're called the what? The better half. Yeah. It's Vedic, it's true. They're called the better half. But structurally, their bodies are not as strong, they tend to be exploited by men. There's no woman, strongest woman cannot defeat the strongest man. Not possible. Physically. And because the woman's nature is attractive. As a matter of fact, the Vedas say that the form of the human female is all of the attractive features of the material world rolled into one. And therefore we see right now we're seeing unfolding stories. This guy that was huge billionaire, billion, and he was just into sex. And he was looking for young girls underage, anything. And now it's all coming out. And he's got a whole Rolodex of big men who are exploiting, you know, and trafficking and taking advantage, you know. So therefore, we've come into an era where we should be very careful how we apply that knowledge and that energy. It's a fact that women should be protected. And this is the reason that they should be protected, because they will get exploited by these rascals, you know. So, but at the same time, in the Vedic culture, because the women are more attractive and powerful, they would control the situation from behind, from not being out front, you know. So it's not that the women were weak. I mean, Draupadi she looked Bhishma right in the eye, and he went, oops. He could not look her in the eye. She was being disrobed by the Kurus in their court, and Bhishma Dev was a Mahajan, very heavy, big personality, great, the grandfather of all the warriors. He was the most powerful, and she looked at him, and she was furious, and he had to look on the ground. He could not look her in the eye. She defeated him, greatest warrior on the earth, and just by a glance, she defeated him. There's so many stories about women who take down an emperor and therefore control the whole part of the world. Huh? Yeah, so many. So we should be careful about this. We shouldn't think that women are not intelligent. They are. There are a couple of women right now running for President of the United States, and you listen to them talk, and whoo, I wouldn't want to get into an argument with them. But the fact of the matter is that in general, there are always exceptions to all rule, but in general, the form of the female has propensities, has structurally different propensities. They can have children. Men can't. Okay, you want to be equal? Okay, let's have, your husband can have one, and then you can have another. Then your husband can have one, and then you can have the other. Let's split this, let's split it. It's not possible. They're not equal. They're different. They're not inferior either. And the idea that they're inferior is Maya. because we just heard this. Chanikya Pandit, a learned person, sees all women other than his wife as mother. Now, what is mother figure? What does mother mean? Mother's most exalted position, most exalted, most caring, most important. So important that all of us get our first taste of material life and training and everything, and affection and care from our mothers. And therefore they are the most important, because the population comes from their wombs, and if they're good, then we have good population on the earth, and it's easier to maintain things and for things to be peaceful, etc., etc., etc. So they're being exploited, the women, by the men. It's the men's fault, not the women's. Excuse me. I'm crossing the line over here, but that's a fact. And therefore, if women are in that condition where they have somebody that's abused them, and they've handled it for a long time, and now they're taking shelter of an ashram or a temple, then they should be lauded. Respected. Gandhini, when she found out her husband was going to be blind, she bound her eyes. Huh? She bound her eyes. Not bounded. It was bound. She couldn't see her whole life. Then when it came time for her son to go and fight with Bhima, she said, "Okay, you come before me naked." And she took off her things and she just went, ah, like that. Unfortunately, somebody took in between, and who was that? Krishna. What are you doing going to see your mother naked? What are you, some kind of uncouth? At least cover your private parts, So he did. And she looked and he said, "What did you do? I told you to come naked." She said, "Well, Krishna told me. What could I do, And then, then at the end with the fight, then, I think, who was it that said, Krishna said, here, you can fight here, you can hit him here. Yeah. And then he was defeated. That power she had. That was tremendous power of the austerity, of chastity, of woman. So we're going to stop here.
Yes.
Okay, anything else? Okay. Thank you very much for this rich hearing and lovely reflections. Thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow. Is Monday, so it'll be 6:30. Krishna willing, same place, same station, same time. 6:30. I mean. Hare Krishna. Srimad-Bhagavatam ki jai. Lord Ramacandra ki jai. Sita Devi ki jai. Gaur Premanandi. Hare Hare Bol. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.